Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this opening inaugural panel discussion of this year's GRPC event. In the morning today, we had the pleasure of hearing from various dignitaries from the stakeholders in our industry and from the operating companies within our industry. They touched upon some of the evolving trends, some of the evolving priorities in the sector. What are the challenges and the opportunities from decarbonization, as well as what really is what we call as the burning platform for change, for bringing innovation, for bringing agility, efficiency, and as Mr. Prabdas put, how do we become more competitive as an industry? In this panel discussion today, which is very aptly titled Innovating for Resilience and Sustainability, to my mind, it truly captures the essence of our journeys, of our industry's journey in this dynamic landscape that we are in. Through the next 60 minutes, what we'll try to do is explore answers to some of the thoughts, some of the questions that were outlined by the speakers before us in the morning. We'll delve into both the strategic and the operational aspects of many of those thoughts that we heard in the morning today. And to do that, I have six brilliant, distinguished leaders from different companies in the industry. Welcome to all of you to this panel discussion. Before I go to my first panelist, let me do a quick refresher to level set the discussion. I was talking to a few of the colleagues in the morning, and I was reflecting on similar panels that, many of us have had the pleasure and the privilege to attend. And I think we all would agree that the emotions have, swung from, a few years back, a tremendous euphoria around green energy and people rushing to write the obituary of oil and gas and the decline of fossil fuel, to a bullish point of view on fossil fuels in the years to come. And I think today we heard a lot of the speakers in the morning. We can settle well in our chair and agree that the reality is somewhere in the middle. This is especially true for a country like ours. We have about 500 million people, a growing economy, increasing urbanization, all of which means that our per capita energy consumption is only going to grow, right? On the other hand, the forces of climate change cannot be ignored. Whether it is extreme weather events or extreme heat that we witness, here in Delhi, those are, examples which are here and now. And also beyond, just the regulatory and the compliance pressures, I think the onus is upon all of us to leave a planet which is more livable for the generations to come. So, on that note, given these multiple forces at play, I'll go to my first panelist, Mr. Sujoy Choudhury from Indian Oil Corporation, to request his thoughts on, as a board member, as a business leader, how do you look at the portfolio of your organization? And in doing so, how do you think about balancing the need for growth, which is here and now over the next many years, along with the imperative of sustainability? Would love to hear your thoughts on that, Mr. Sujoy.
Good morning to all, and thank you. I think, as we have seen in the first session, sustainability, as it implies for India, comes on the backdrop of the energy requirement of the country, given the landscape that we are supposed to grow at an average of, let's say, 6.5% year on year till 2047, when we aspire to be a developed nation. So in that backdrop, and given the energy requirements for this growth and balancing sustainability, all the companies who are in this space, I'm talking of oil and gas sector specifically, are trying to balance or walk a tightrope on the two aspects of providing energy, keeping it affordable, and at the same time looking at sustainability per se. So in this backdrop, if I look at Indian Oil, where I am working, I would say that for growth, much like as all our counterparts, we are trying to ensure that we traverse those pathways of sustainability and growth side by side. Meaning thereby, on one hand, while we are expanding our capacities in refineries, at the same time, we are also delving in gas. We are trying various forms of biofuel, CBG, 2G ethanol, 1G ethanol, 3G ethanol. We are also working on advanced battery chemistries. We are also working with R&D to find out fuels which are less carbon intensive, and all of these. Now, if I go specifically in each of these areas, you will see Indian Oil is the only company at the moment where our expansion from 80 to 107 is in the offing, and maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line, we'll have all of those completed. So first and foremost, as it was stressed upon by all the speakers, that we believe oil is here to stay. Yes, the share of oil in the total energy basket is definitely going to come down, but nevertheless, whatever plans are there for all these oil companies, I think they would bear fruit. The landscape is like this, that we are at 828 odd million metric tons of oil equivalent, and given the various scenarios, the most possible scenario is that it will be around 1750 odd by 2047. So a doubling of energy requirement. And to meet this double energy requirement, we definitely need all forms of energy. We are seeing very ambitious targets of Government of India towards renewables. Similar is the case for all of us. What are we doing on those aspects? As I said, first we are trying to ensure that we have fuels which are more energy efficient. For example, in Indian Oil, we have come up with XP95, XP100, extra green diesel, and a host of other lubricants which match these kind of sustainability requirements which are less carbon intensive. That's the first step. The second part is we are reducing the load of, let's say, fuel oil or diesel in the refineries for power generation. Shifting to gas, moving away from the heavier fuels to gas, and going forward possibly green hydrogen. So gas in all the refineries for Indian Oil is increasing by the day as we expand the network of pipelines. We have connected Paradip recently. We are waiting for some stretch of pipeline to get completed for Haldia. We have connected Barauni. And as the pipelines progress, Indradhanush gas grid beyond, moves to northeast, we'll also have the northeastern refineries connected to the gas grid. So we are substituting gas by gas, the other fuels. That is the next step. The third step which we are doing is that we are trying to see the ENCON measures give us maximum benefit. Given the schemes like PAT which are already there, all the refineries, I'm sure, our private counterparts are also doing that on a regular basis. We are trying to ensure that energy conservation or energy uses reduces to the extent possible. In the morning session, Pravdas ji was also mentioning that to an extent, that we need to reduce our fuel and losses. Even if we cut by 2%, it makes a significant impact on sustainability. So that's an area where all of us are working, and I think more collaborative work is needed in that front. The next other steps are looking at green hydrogen in a big way. We all are trying our bit. And as we know, Europe has shifted their green hydrogen targets to 2030 from 2025. So it's a journey which we have embarked upon. We know that we are still not there, but nevertheless, as the oil companies are known for taking chances, delving into new areas, we have moved in that direction as well. Talking of biofuels, which would substantially green at the same time reduce our import dependence. As 15% is what we are currently going along in this current year. Last year we were at 12.7. We have moved to 2G ethanol to reduce the parali, which causes environmental pollution to a large extent. We have moved to via carbon capture route of gas collecting route to 3G ethanol. Now, if you ask me whether these have stabilized, it has not yet stabilized. These are new areas. We are, all of us, BPC, HPC, IOC for 2G ethanol are almost in the same space. These are new technologies, and in the biospace, it needs a lot of fine-tuning. So every day is a new journey, and every day we are discovering something new, fine-tuning, moving ahead. We are extensively going ahead with CBG production. Indian Oil has already declared 30 CBG plants that we will be making. We have done 3-4 of them. There are challenges of handling agri-residue, aggregating them, processing them, the pre-feed, the post-digester issues, and handling the remnants of the process. All of these are challenges, but one by one, these issues are getting sorted out. And coming to renewable power, first of all, we are moving to grid. And as the grid gets greener, so would be the energy which will be used by these refineries. And on top of that, each of these companies are trying to move to renewable power in a large way. Indian Oil has already formed a company. It's called Terra Clean Limited, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Indian Oil, which under this umbrella, all the green initiatives will be undertaken. The company has been incorporated, and we have already declared a 1 gigawatt capacity, which we are starting with. And going forward, many more initiatives will come. We have already used carbon capture in one of the fertilizer units through our R&D method. Mixed amine and rich amine system, which we have utilized, which saves considerable energy for the fertilizer unit where we are doing our trials. And as we stabilize that, we will use this carbon capture and utilization in a more and more refined way in our refineries and maybe possibly in the industries, so to say. So all in all, in every aspect of sustainability, we are dabbling, we are going forward. Some we are going aggressively, some we are fine-tuning it to move forward. Coming to water harvesting, Mathura Refinery, as you may be aware, has started using processed sewage-treated water and have substantially reduced intake of fresh water. Once the Mathura issue is resolved, we are trying in Gujarat the same process. So reducing water footprint is a very conscious call. On the marketing side, a significant proportion of our retail outlets have been shifted to solar, and more will be done as we go along. As this large WSS come, wayside amenities along the highways, we are trying so that they run on green power from day one. So those are being fine-tuned. So in marketing and as well the warehouses, wherever it is, be it a polymer warehouse, the solar power plants or combined solar wind hybrids are coming up, so that green remains a very dominant theme across our play. So one side, while we are increasing refining capacity, trying to reduce losses, bringing in energy conservation methods. On the other side, for greening, we are bringing in advanced fuel which are low carbon. We are greening the grid. We are using more of grid power. We are doing the green journey to ethanol and CBG. And all in all, creating a space where both can survive together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sujoy, for those thoughts. I think it's heartening to see Indian Oil Corporation being the largest OMC leading from the front. And you know, I found two things very, very fascinating. One, that you're taking a portfolio view and placing multiple bets across both the traditional and the new energies. And second, the fact that you're not just thinking of renewables to meet your own captive capacity, but thinking of standing it up as a business which can run as a large-scale, profitable business can be a new engine of growth in the years to come.
Yeah, I think I just missed one point. I just stress what you said, that in advanced battery chemistry, we have already declared a collaboration with Panasonic, and we are going ahead with 1 gigawatt capacity building within India, which is also a step. Yes, we are in all the spaces because at this point of time, I don't think the world even knows which would succeed. So we are there in every space, and possibly depending on the time, depending on the situation, depending on the technology which survives, we'll scale up the area required.
Sure, thank you. So from, Mr. Sujoy, I'll turn to Mr. Amar Kumar from Nayara, one of the private operators in the industry, to seek his thoughts on the entire, sustainability wave, and what are some of the sustainability goals in particular that you are setting yourselves up against.
Good morning.
Can we do a mic check?
Hello? Yeah, now it started working. Thank you. Good morning to all. And thank you for providing me the opportunity to participate in the panel with the distinguished and veterans of the industries. For sustainability, Nayara is committed for the government, what Government of India initiative has taken. And we are going through the energy transition. For in the morning, as Prabhdas told, that the refinery is going to stay. We fully endorse that. And what he said was we should focus on the first thing is a low-hanging fruit of ENCON. So we have a roadmap of ENCON, and we have already done a lot of initiatives, and we are doing currently. And in the future also, we are totally focused on the ENCON, where we can, at the low cost, we can reduce the carbon footprint of the refinery. Doing that, the next point what we are doing is our biofuel. Means we are running a CFP boiler for our captive use, power and steam. This boiler consumes coal. So what we are planning now to use the biomass. Actually, we are targeting 10% of the coal to replace with the biomass. In this, we faced some technical hurdle. So we approached IIT Delhi, and they provide us an innovative solution to how to manage this technical hurdle. And now with that help and with the consent from OEM, we are now going with the trial of biomass in the coal-based boiler. And after successful trial, we will be 10% of the biomass we will be utilizing in our boiler. And as everybody is telling that India has achieved 15% of ethanol, and in the process next year we will have 20% of ethanol. So in this process to decarbonize, we are putting up 2 ethanol plant in one MP and one in AP, and that will supply to our ethanol blending, and that decarbonization will process. So this project is going on the schedule, and we have already acquired land, and further engineering will follow now. Coming to the other aspect of solar and green hydrogen, we started 4 or 5 years back about the solar. We have a plenty of land where we can install solar panel, but unfortunately the state government does not allow more than 1 megawatt behind the meter. So we had to rethink about our strategy. Now we are planning to go with the group captive, from where we can, from state player, we can take some of the supplier of the solar. We will purchase from that and try to decarbonize. Along with that, we are going ahead with the pilot sort of, you can say, 10 megawatt electrolyzer of hydrogen plant. And that way, the purpose is to learn ourselves and to understand this scheme. Then we can go further on this. Another thing what we are doing is very different that we have a lot of coastal area in that area, Jamnagar and Wadinar. So we have planted so far 375 of mangroves there. And we further, we have, there is a government, central government program called MISTI, Mangrove Initiative. So we have participated in that. And in that, we have planned now with the government of Gujarat, around 1,000 hectares of land. Every year we will plant 200 of mangroves in those areas. And experts says that this mangrove consumes 5 times more carbon than the normal plant in the land. So this is one of the initiatives we have taken to reduce the carbon footprint. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar. I think it's very interesting that you pointed about, how you are bringing efficiency to your fuel consumption. And in that process, innovating through a collaboration amongst the OEM, the academia, IIT Delhi you mentioned, and yourself. I think that's a prime example of the innovation that, underpins the theme of what we are discussing here. If there's a will, there's a way forward for all of us to achieve, the priorities which are being discussed. So thank you for bringing that specific example, and sharing that with the audience. I'll just progress the discussion and take that to Mr. Bharathan from HPCL. Mr. Bharathan, what are some of the key challenges that you see in, both resilience and sustainability, and what are some of the key initiatives that you at HPCL are spearheading in these areas?
Thank you. Best wishes to all the delegates and my fellow panelists. As we have been hearing from the previous panelists, I will continue the discussion. But let me first cover resilience separately, sustainability separately, then see them together and what are the challenges and how we are overcoming them. The resilience, when you take on a standalone basis, we have a lot of opportunities in reducing our raw material cost, which is crude. Different geographies we are going into now. The trade route in the world has got changed, but the refineries has to adapt to that with less time. Immediately we'll have to adapt to the challenges that are coming. So we have readily adopted that. We are now taking crude from different geographies where we get opportunities. We will continue to do that. There will be structural changes required, and there will be very easy chemical solutions that are available to use that opportunities that are there. The reliability improvement in our units, we all know oil and gas has to run 24/7, 365, and a lot of challenges are there and continuous running. As we improve, we bounce back from the low levels that may come once in a while. So the resilience, which is actually bouncing back from challenges, this is the second point. The third is in the flexibility of the product mix, what you can have. The flexibility in the various stream routing, what you can have. As the market demand changes, you must be able to cater to the market demand immediately. Now in the design stage, you cannot have more flexible, because it will increase your not only the capex but the operating expenditure also. So we'll have to optimize that, bring you innovative solutions to achieve them. So you will vary them at your will. So that is the next resilience what we can have, and we will have to go to the molecular level, not just to the boiling range what we used to talk about earlier, but we will have to go to the molecular level management and manage them with some innovative solutions. So these are some examples of how resilient a refinery can be there. Now come to the sustainable solution. Sustainable, ever since we installed our refineries, we have been grappling with gas, liquid and solid disposal. Is the fundamental integrated facilities what we have in all our refineries. But if you see the level of growth what we have had in respect to the production, to the complexity, today we are doing much more with very little gaseous emissions. We almost eliminated sulfur dioxide emissions from our refineries, and in spite of various expansions, we are able to do at the very minimum level. So all these state-of-the-art technologies have been implemented for that. For here also we have catalyst and chemical solution which come in handy when the variations take place. Similarly, liquid, both our refineries are zero discharge liquid refinery. And the new integrated refinery coming in Pachpatra also is a zero effluent discharge refinery, which is very key for sustainability. So this is already implemented and it's quite easy to do so, and it's an economical solution. Seeing the water shortages, what you will see, what you are seeing and what you will see in the coming days. Solid is quite not that great a problem in refineries, but nevertheless it has to be effectively handled and without affecting. So there also we have some reuse possible, which probably later on I will cover. The next major thing is all of us, most companies have declared net zero with respect to scope 1 and 2. From HPCL, we have declared net zero with respect to scope 1 and 2 by 2040. I am very happy to inform that we are already in the path of reducing. If you remember the Prime Minister's call for Panchamrit, there are two key elements which we can, refiners or a petroleum company has to contribute to. One is reduction of 1 billion ton of CO2 within 2030. That's only 6 years away. So with respect to HPCL, we have planned for our contribution will be 2.5 million metric ton, and we are already in the path of reducing it. The another Panchamrit what has been announced is you will have to reduce 45% of carbon emission intensity index to the compared to 2005 where we are there by 2030 again. So with this also we have planned, and we will be able to do from our own operations, including the marketing operations, we will be able to do almost 47% of intensity we will be able to reduce, and we are already in the path of reduction, and I will say we have got quite good success in that also. So these are some of the sustainability challenges and what can be done for that. Now bring both the resilience and the sustainabilities. Here also number of things can be done. I will start from the marketing front or the oil marketing infrastructure what we are doing. Almost 25 of our terminals are net zero already. We have made our terminals operation as net zero within the last 2 years, and in the next 2 years we will be making 100% of the terminals will be net zero by way of power, by way of the fuel that is used, or by way of the operations what we do. We have achieved net zero in 1/3 already, and we will be achieving the other also within next 2 years. Many of you may know HPCL operates 1G ethanol plant for more than 10 years. It's not a recent thing. Ever since the ethanol blending came, we have been operating ethanol plants ourselves. Of course, it's a small quantity, not sufficient for the entire country. And now we are scaling up with multiple feedstock and expanding it along with 2G ethanol also. But we have installed infrastructure across all the states of India. So the length and breadth of India, we are supplying the 15% ethanol, which my IOC friend explained just a while ago. For that, huge amount of infrastructure has been set up by all the marketing companies, which is actually making this possible. Apart from ethanol availability, this is one key challenge which we have overcome, which has come, and we have overcome that. Now, similarly, biogas, we have our own technology, which is called HPRAM, which is a patented technology which has highest recovery of, highest yield of gas. One of the first plant is coming up in Andhra. We have also our own technology for gas purification, HPVPSA, which again gives highest recovery of methane, and which is an innovative solution which we have incorporated in the design, which gives that incremental recovery also. So these are some of the things which are for the alternate fuels, for the green fuels. Now coming back to refinery, in a refinery what we can do. I told resilience and sustainability. So what we have done in India's largest brownfield expansion, which is just concluded in our Vizag refinery, we have included all the latest energy efficiency measures, which earlier we have been only talking, but we have implemented on field. Couple of them are, we have the stage flaring, because of which the main flare stack diameter is so small, so the flare loss is very, very minimum, and the regular requirement is also very minimum there. The hydrogen plant what we have installed is already reducing the carbon dioxide emission by 30%. So that is the extent of reduction that has been done. And some of you will know this particular hydrogen plant does not produce any steam, does not export any steam. Many of the hydrogen plants today forcibly have to export steam because of the waste heat problem, but here it is so integrated design is done, because of which that is not there. And that reduces the carbon dioxide emission by almost 30%. We have in the crude distillation unit, the preheat is so intensely done, the energy consumption in the crude distillation unit is least in Asia, what has been designed for. So there also you get the good intensity benefits. I can tell many more examples. I'll tell just one more. We take hot streams from one unit to another unit so that the heat integration is there, not stopping to only one of the unit. We take across the complex. So these are some of the things because of which the energy efficiency is brought in, which is actually helping in sustainability also. The few more handles what we have, which can be used to overcome challenges, are the digital technology. The digital technology which is bringing the dashboard, which is can be used for optimization, real-time optimization. So that also can be leveraged for using. Advances in process chemicals. So we have now started by indigenizing all the process chemicals which have been doing in India, which we are importing. But now we have turned into innovative solutions, which actually help improving the energy and improving the sustainability measures also. And similarly, the catalyst, the intensification comes. There are three easy things which refiners can do immediately, which is the power. So about 5 years back, all 23 Indian refineries together were importing about 140 to 160 megawatt power, because the balance was all captive. That means 90% was captive, 5 to 10% was only being imported from grid. Today our HPCL Mumbai refinery, 90% of the power is imported from grid. We have a small percentage just to kept for the key critical applications. That means, and the grid is already 27% green. So my power is already 27% green, even without going for 100% renewable power, which we will do it in the coming 2 years. So the entire power will be changed, the infra is in place. Our entire Vizag refinery is already consuming 50% from grid power, which will be ramped up to 70%, and it will become green in the next 2 years once we get the total renewable power coming into the refinery. So this power can be easily eliminated. Now we have for CO2, we have our pilot project for capturing CO2 and utilizing it as a liquid carbon dioxide for the industries. So the first plant is coming up again in our Vizag refinery, which we call it as HP Blue Hydrogen Plant, HPBH2. The next is hydrogen. Green hydrogen, we all know the price has to be made competitive. So we are all talking about scale. Various solutions are coming. So we have been not only in our R&D, we are trying so many combinations to reduce the cost. We have first put up the first electrolyzer in any Indian refinery in our Vizag refinery, which is just under commissioning and will be on any time now. So which is just not a solution put to showcase something, but it is an economic solution for us. There are specific reasons for that also. So the hydrogen can be made green, the power can be made green. Now we have the major fuel which is left, which biogas is one solution which we feel, apart from the energy efficient measures, what we can do. So these are some of the things where the resilience and sustainability, when we do together, we can overcome all the challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bharathan. I think clearly there are a number of initiatives, you talked about across, the core operational efficiency plus the new sources of energy. As I go to Mr. Basu from HMEL, I think what we are clearly hearing is the priority is to, bring efficiency to our core operations, refineries, petrochemicals, whether it's, adaptability to different crude avenues, expanding the crude basket, product flexibility, so that we can maximize, the profitability of our operations, and that will be key. That will be key to generate the capital that needs to be plowed into a number of the clean energy, green energy initiatives, many of which are in the pilot stages. So, generating the capital from the core and plowing it into the new, that will be crucial. How do you see that, Mr. Basu, at your organization at HMEL, especially around the theme of resilience, if you can share your thoughts?
Good afternoon, esteemed panelists on dais, senior industry veterans, Dr. Maitra, Dr. Garg, Dr. Malhotra, and all my colleagues present over here. First of all, I am obliged to the organization for giving me this opportunity to talk about our refinery and how we are working in the resilience. In this world, the industry is continuously being swept away by significant technological, environmental, or economic disruptions around us. Resilience is the ability to constantly meet the performance, meet the standard of performance, and the capacity to bounce back. The companies are designed to build for the maximize their baseline efficiencies. For example, in oil and gas petrochemicals along in the coastal region, we expect that the oil will be available abundant through imports or the gas. But in case of some climatic changes or calamities, natural calamities or war-like situation, these are affected. So innovations are necessary for the survival, for working in the best possible manner for the refinery. And how we have done, although we are a hinterland refinery, but the concepts are almost similar. What we have done, developing the ability to process different kinds of crudes and naphtha for our refinery and also the cracker units. We have developed internally through careful analysis and study of bottlenecks, the ability to process wide variety of crudes that can be allowed, and the naphtha also, so that both the crude unit or the cracker unit can operate to the best possible level. Similar is the case with the fuel, use of natural gas, use of fuel oil, naphtha, high benzene and naphtha stream, pet coke as internal fuel. Ability to use cheaper and opportunity-based intermediate feedstock like LSFO, sour vigio in the refinery. Ability to produce various specialty solvents as per market demand, like isobutane, isopentane. These are examples of successful strategies that we are continuously working, and some of them we have already started producing. Also, taking cue from the benefit of manufacturing high-valued chemicals, similar efforts to produce from petrochemicals intermediates. For example, we have plans to take up toluene and xylene manufacture from RPG in the refinery, and again from toluene, further production of key intermediates for manufacture of specific business requirement. Improving energy efficiency simultaneously to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, and starting with the condensing power, reduction of condensing power, and try to capture low-level heat and use that. Instead of air coolers, use it in heating the water, and that water, you use it, hot water, you use it in various areas for using the energy. Risk-based inspection, then productive maintenance, or productive management, other robotic and online inspection techniques, metallurgical improvements for enhanced life of processing of tough crudes. Increased TA cycle, we are now plans to increase it from 4 years to close to 5 years by taking various steps, various monitoring tools. So that's in the industry to earn more money, to get more benefits, and the longer run length and the tolerant, and at the same time use catalysts which are tolerant to poisons. Optimize chemical consumption and reduce OPEX expenditure, that's another way. Integration of the refinery process units, that's using of the hot feed. These are common, but maximize hot feed, thereby reduce energy consumption as much as possible. Or integrating the CPP and the petrochemical operations with the refinery with respect to the heat. Fire and safety techniques, enhanced mechanism, and robotic intervention. Another strategy that is very important and that is taking now little improvement or little progress, that is modular and chemical process intensification. It's a concept where modularization has been integrated with process intensification. The faster, it has helped faster implementation, safer project implementation, reduce capital costs, reduce energy consumption. Reduced energy consumption is an important driver for this process intensification, like in the technologies like reactive distillation, divided wall column, where the energy consumption can be considerably reduced. The number of equipment reduction is also another area with the process intensification. So these are a few of the examples. Similarly, in our refinery also, we have used special type of QLSS, and thereby in our hydro treatment units, we have used hot high pressure separator, and there we are separating out the water without any impact on the downstream facility. So these are a few of the examples I would like to say to keep us resilient, and these are possibly, not possibly, but it is not only at present, but it is also required in future time for the industry to remain resilient. Simultaneously, in the area of sustainability also, we are working, we have recently installed one bioethanol plant, and we have also installed solar power generation facility. We have, in the longer run, we have plans to cover our entire reservoir with solar panels, and thereby going up to solar power generation to the tune of about 50
Mr. Basu, in the interest of time, I'll
yes, thank you.
Possibly go to the other panelists as well.
Correct.
I'm sorry to interject, but much appreciate your sharing the thoughts. I think you have clearly doubled down on the efficiency agenda to make, you know, the process competitive, what was discussed in the morning, and clearly many of the initiatives seem to be digital and analytics led, from real-time optimization to, you talked about predictive maintenance on the maintenance and reliability side, process optimization, energy efficiency. Clearly, you seem to have progressed on the digital agenda. So thank you for sharing those thoughts. I'll switch gears. We'll take about 15 minutes from here to sort of close the discussion, but we'll switch gears towards petrochemicals. And I'll go back to Mr. Sujoy Choudhury for his thoughts there. You know, the petrochemical integration is critical not just to capture higher value, but also to deal with the ambiguity and uncertainty around fossil fuels. That's what we all have been, you know, talking about over the years. You were one of the pioneers to set up a large-scale petrochemical foray many years back. But I think as we all talked about the economy, the multiplier effect on petrochemical demand. But, you know, as we stand today, there are two things which are happening. The competitive intensity is growing in the domestic market, with everyone integrating petrochemicals in their process. And globally, we have hit, unfortunately, a down cycle, and we see a lot of competition from imports. So in this scenario, you know, your vision on petrochemicals, how to capture the future growth, as well as navigate some of the immediate short-term challenges. Over to you, Mr. Sujoy.
Yeah. Coming to petrochemicals, it's in a very interesting space, so to say. We are in the absolute nadir, so to say, in the cycle. We all know that petrochem moves in cycles, and fortunately it complements the fuel cycle. So as a result, they balance each other out, and to an extent, oil companies, especially the Indian PSU sector, remains live. But if you look at globally, what has happened over the last few years is they have added almost 30 million tons of capacity year on year for the last 4 years, whereas the consumption grew by 20 million tons. So you have a surplus of 10 million tons last 4 years across the globe. So that has pushed the prices down, that has pushed the capacity utilization down by a significant extent. Coupled with that, what we saw is the demand destruction to an extent in Europe, the slowdown in China, and as a result, you had Middle East, who produces molecules at a much cheaper rate since they have an advantage feedstock, producing petchem and dumping into India at a very, very large rate. So the imports had increased substantially. That further led to suppression of prices. In the domestic sector, the growth rate was 9% around, so it was a very, very healthy growth which we are seeing. But coupled with this problem of global growth, that led to the prices being very subdued, and as a result, we are seeing the profitability of all the units at almost the bottom. HMEL has come on stream, which is pushing a large quantum of polypropylene, polyethylene into the market. And since they are new, they are pushing it at very low prices. That also is reducing the margins in the domestic producers. Now, at this point of time, and if we go by the predictions of all the consultants, it seems to be a U curve with the U at the bottom of the U quite flat. So in this sector, what choices does the industry have? The industry, if it does not expand now, then possibly they miss the next cycle. The second thing, if you look at, we all talk of India's Viksit Bharat. The urbanization rate is supposed to be excess of 45–46%. So at that urbanization rate, the demand for petchem is bound to increase by leaps and bounds. So with the urbanization rate increasing year on year, the use of plastics becoming more and more sophisticated, the automobile companies looking for lighter vehicles to increase energy efficiency, the demand from the FMCG goods increasing by a substantial quantity, all of these point to more higher consumption of petchem. Now, issue remains whether if we expand today further, do we get value for money going down the line? So I think to an extent, the domestic industry definitely needs some amount of protection. No two opinions about that, at least in the near term. The second thing is all the units, barring a few, have gone for the most low-hanging fruit, that FCC route of propylene. In fact, in India, we are coming up with 5 million tons of propylene down the line by another 4 or 5 years, which is a substantial quantity, and ethylene would be around 3 million tons as of now. So the quantities are good, but I think there is a need to look at the product profile of these polymers. On one side, while we'll still import propylene and ethylene, polypropylene and polyethylene to an extent, there are many, many other products where no action is being taken by the industry per se. So there is a need to look at those products, there is a need to look at specialities, there is a need to look at the advanced chemistries or chemical per se, which also gives us that amount of mileage. I think it's time that we look at the refinery stream by stream and find out what we can capitalize instead of going for pooling as traditionally we have been doing. I think that would be my outlook. And on the sustainability side, see, the notion around plastics, which is being spread by many, many lobbies, is a very, very big misnomer in this whole world of petchem. In India, we are the largest, possibly global recyclers of the world. Recycling or reuse comes to us very naturally. We even reuse the Swiggy or Zomato tub which comes to our house. No hard plastic is left recycled. So in that scenario, PET, we recycle almost 95% of the PET. And we are moving to use of glass bottles, which consumes 20 times more energy. So these are big dichotomies which are there in the world. I think the industry, the onus is on petchem industry to actually demonstrate this recycling in a major way. Yes, there are challenges in multi-layer films. There are challenges in some advanced plastics. But I think chemical recycling, as it matures over a period of time, those issues also would get addressed. But the large quantum of commodity petchem is under recycling, other than the wrappers, which float around and the volume to weight ratio is poor. Almost everything is getting recycled. So we need to be mindful that sustainability from petchem side is already being taken care of. And on the production side, as all the refiners have said, the balancing heat between refining and petchem, integrating the sources, using the reverse streams more and more is actually resulting in sustainability per se. So I think petchem for India is a very good story. As and when the MS goes to reduces based on the growth that we see in EVs mature, I think a substantial amount of aromatics would come on stream. We need to plan out what to do with those aromatics. That would be a challenging area because PX is not the only way how we can handle as such. PX and PTA across the globe is in very, the capacity utilization is pretty low, especially with the huge plants which have come up in China. So there are challenges, multiple challenges, but I think industry as a whole, R&D, industry, the additive catalyst manufacturers, and the consultants, all of us together should find out the unique solutions for this country because petchem is a good growth story and I think it is imperative for this country given the kind of growth that we anticipate.
Thank you, Mr. Sujoy. And I think absolutely echo what you said. We need to invest now to capture the next upcycle, look at newer chemistries, advanced chemistries. And if I may say so, possibly this is the time to also look at our efficiency. How do we become more customer-centric from a product price offer to, a more integrated service-oriented play so that we can maximize value from what we have today. Thank you for those thoughts. I know Rajiv and Hemant have been sitting very patiently. Thank you for that. I'll come to Rajiv. You have the privilege of providing engineering consultancy, cross conceptualization to commissioning to operators in India and globally. Would love to hear your perspective on, how do you contrast the thoughts which are being echoed here with what you hear elsewhere in the world?
Thank you so much, and good morning to all of you. I mean, the co-panelists have already spoken about at length, that because all of them are operating large refineries, petrochemical plants. So, they have given you a flavor, actually, what is that they are planning to do and how the things are going to come up in this sector. We being, representing E-Engineers India Limited, which is a consultancy and an engineering company. So, definitely I am very much aligned with their views that, this is what is really going to happen in the near future. That I think as a part of the net zero program for most of the refiners, the first low-hanging fruit is the energy efficiency programs. And as I see it, that we are working on a lot of projects with respect to the energy efficiency programs for all these refineries. We are working in a big way for Bharat Petroleum. We are going to work for a large, for some of the projects for Indian Oil Corporation. So, in my opinion, let us say the energy improvement programs itself can bring down the carbon footprint of a refinery by at about 10 to 15%. That is the kind of potential that the energy efficiency program, a really good program, can bring in that kind of a value. And that is what is actually happening in the industry also, as has been echoed by a lot of co-panelists also, that this is the one thing that everybody is really investing a lot of money in these projects. And as energy efficiency, basically, we have kind of a, they have graded the projects into something which is something to be implemented with a very, very low capex in near future, and something which require more capex and more time to implement because they require some major revamps of the existing units to make, let us say, the more energy preheating changes, to make the distillation or fractionation more efficient, or let us say the introduction of air preheat schemes, low temperature heat recovery, heater efficiency improvement. So this is all the areas which will give a lot of boost to the profitability of the refineries, as well as bring down their CO2 footprint to a large extent. So a lot of projects, I'd see in the future will be coming in these areas. The next probably thing is people are talking of digitalization, and I think it's also going to make a lot of inroads in the refineries. As EIL, we are working on some of these tools or products which will help the industry to make their operating their refineries more efficiently, because these will be kind of a real-time optimization of the existing refineries. And I would also like to point out the point, what Mr. Bharathan also made, that as Engineers India Limited, we have designed one of the highest efficiency or lowest energy number for the crude vacuum distillation unit that has been recently commissioned in Vizag Refinery of the HPCL. And as he claims, I also very much echo that same, that is maybe not only in the Asia it is the lowest energy, even in the world it may be the most energy efficient crude vacuum unit designed by us. So that is the kind of products or the solutions that we can provide to the industry for reducing the carbon footprint. Similarly, the digitalization tools, we are working on a IoT-based program for the crude distillation units, which will be a kind of a very intensive real-time optimization, and which will really, based on what is the crude process, what is the health condition of the various equipments, it will bring a real-time optimization to give you the best energy for that operating conditions. Similarly, we have developed some tools for heater optimization standalone, which is also real-time optimization. And for a large refinery, let us say, that, of 9 million, 10 million ton, if we implement it in the large heaters of that refinery, we can save about $1 million every year for that refinery. That is a kind of same, and correspondingly, the CO2 footprint will also come down. Similarly, let us say, we see that a lot of projects in electrification of the refineries are also going to come up, because currently a lot of drives in the refineries are basically the steam drives, which are causing a lot of carbon footprint, because steam generation is associated with a lot of carbon footprint. And we see a lot of projects that are going to come up is the electrification of the refineries. And already refineries have started in these kind of modes. And because the electricity can always be renewable, so it will also reduce their footprint and will have a substantial impact on reducing the carbon footprint as a part of the net zero programs of all these refineries. And then, as Mr. Sujoy Choudhury also echoed, the petrochemical integration is going to come up. Currently, our petrochemical intensity of the refineries varies from 5% to 7%. And in order to make these refineries more sustainable, as in the terms of, because in future there has to be an impact on the fuel oil, the fuels consumption, especially the gasoline, where the vehicles will be substituted with EVs. And so, the petrochemical integration for the refineries is going to come up in a big way. And that is, that is what is actually happening. We are implementing a very large project in Rajasthan for where, the HPCL and Rajasthan government are the joint venture, has a joint venture. And it has about 26% petrochemical intensity, which may be the India's highest petrochemical intensity petrochemical complex that is going to get commissioned by the end of this year or maybe early next year. So, I mean, this is what is actually happening in the Indian industry, and maybe next 5 to 10 years, I mean, these are the areas where the project will really, apart from the green hydrogen, I mean, the green hydrogen also, some pilot kind of projects, I would say they are semi-commercial or pilot, which are 10 megawatt, 20 megawatt. We are working on several such green hydrogen projects, and as a part of the green hydrogen mission, I think, as also said in the inaugural session, that about 200 KTPA of green hydrogen has to be set up by the oil industry in the coming years. So there will be a lot of green hydrogen that will be, plants will be that is set up, and we as a company are fully geared up to take up these projects. We are already implementing 2 or 3 such plants, although small capacity, 10 megawatt, 4 megawatt. So, I mean, CCUS, I mean, sustainability aviation fuel is also going to come up as I quote that 1% blending, 2% blending has to come up by 26, 27%. So I think the refiners have to meet this requirement, and we as EIL already have a technology with Indian Institute of Petroleum, which is based on the HEFA technology, and where we can convert the used cooking oils, tree-borne oils to SAF. And this technology will have about a 55%, 60% yield of SAF. So, I mean, in this way, I mean, Engineers India Limited is fully geared up to help the industry to reduce CO2. I mean, and just take one more minute, I mean, this is also the trend globally, except that what I find is that the CCUS projects, which probably are more coming up in the global world, are not taking so much of, I mean, precedence in, I mean, not coming so prominently in the Indian refinery context. So this is one major difference that I see between the global growth and the Indian context. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you for those thoughts, Rajiv. Appreciate those. I'll go next to Mr. Hemant Sondhi. Hemant, we spoke yesterday. There's a novel technology which has the potential to reduce the fuel consumption as well as reduce the emissions. You have tested that in process industries, have the potential for the refineries as well. So why don't you, take it over and in brief tell us about what it is and how can it benefit all the operators sitting here.
Thanks. Thanks, Nitin, for giving the opportunity. It's really overwhelming to notice that the need of the hour is to reduce the energy consumption, let's say efficiency, improve the efficiency and reduce the emissions. And I feel strongly that the Fowe is the lady dressed in red.
Hemant, if you can speak a little closer to the mic.
Yeah, so I
Perfect.
do feel that the Fowe is lady in red in the room, and everybody may look to dance with us to meet their needs. Fowe in technology, as you explained, is we produce emulsion. It's the technology which is in use, readily available and proven. Since last year and this year, I would like to update that we have secured 2 commercial contracts with the New York Stock Exchange listed companies after they went with their due diligence. In between, we also obtained a letter of no objection from MAN BMW, which is the largest, let's say, engine 2-stroke makers in the world, and from Alfa Laval boiler companies to say, because there were a lot of questions about emulsion. And given my exposure in India, interacting with the stakeholders, emulsion is not a new technology. The only issue with the emulsion, which I was told by the users or so-called ex-users, was the stability. And to achieve the stability, they had to put a lot of chemicals in it. Handling the chemical, buying it, procuring, storing, mixing was a huge issue. So Fowe in such is able to produce a stable emulsion without adding any chemical in it or without any disruption in your process. And I see refineries are overloaded. It's really great to see that they are in fact producing more than their original capacity which they were on. So here we are to propose to the refineries, and I see a lot of decision makers are here, to implement something, emulsion, which is quite basic in nature, into the refineries while using in their boilers or furnaces within the refinery. Shipping companies are more, let's say, inclined towards it because they trade internationally and there is already a tax on the GHG emissions. So 2 shipping companies have already signed with us a contract, and 140 units we will be supplying to them, whereby their aim is to reduce the fuel consumption by 7 to 8% and reduction of NOx and SOx. We have tried in India in various industries, steel and aluminium, whereby the NOx and SOx reduction is more than 30%, 30, and that is with the addition of 15% of the water. So this is the data we already have, and let's say for the stakeholders who were still skirting around because they wanted more data from us, or they wanted to see OEM's letter of no objection, which we are armed with now, and we would like them to give us a chance to come to their refineries, NCNC, no cost, no committal, and give us an opportunity to try on their boilers to see. This would be really a walking the talk, because I see the need. Every panel before and now is they want to reduce the fuel consumption and reduce the emissions. I'm ready to take Mr. Pravda's challenge, because he said that to reduce the fuel consumptions, and here we offer ourselves to meet his need and to data. My data is available, it's on our website. Everybody can go through it. So basically we are reducing the viscosity, we are improving the cold flow properties, and NOx and SOx reductions I've already mentioned earlier. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Hemant. And I think this is an opportune time for you to have enough proof points to have the conversation with a lot of the operators here, and they'll, I'm sure, find value in the technology. I think on that note, we've spent close to 65 minutes taking perspectives from all the panelists. I know a lot of you are hungry and famished. So I'll thank all the distinguished panelists for coming down today here to grace this event and for sharing their perspectives about how they are thinking of the priorities for the sector going ahead. Our discussion today clearly underscores the importance of transformation so that we can address the dual challenge of energy security and sustainability. A lot of the focus here and now is on energy efficiency, process optimization, predictive maintenance, getting into further downstream derivatives through advanced chemistry, so on and so forth, which is going to make the industry competitive. And all of this with the steadfast commitment to sustainability alongside will be equally important, so that we are prepared well for the future. So on that note, thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts once again, and to the engaged audience for a patient listening. Thank you.